Do you know any other Americans like yourself, such as yourself, who are academics or also Hindu practitioners and are avowedly so,
Oh,
openly so?
oh, quite a few, quite a few. I can name names because these people are also very public about Professor Ramdas Lam in the University of Hawaii. He's a sadhu, actually. Um,
Lamb.
uh, Ramdas Lam, yeah, his last name's Lam, Lamb, and he's very open. There are several professors. I know people who are affiliated to the Vaishnava tradition. Professor Graham Schweig is one, for example. He's written a lot on the Gita and the Bhagavata Purana. And then a very prominent scholar who is also a practitioner, or at least he's been a practitioner. I don't know much about his personal life, but he's someone whose work I admire greatly. Professor Edwin Bryant.
Edward Bryant, name strikes as a
Edwin Bryant, yeah, he's written on the Yoga Sutra and also on Bhagavata as well. So yeah, he's had me give guest talks in his classes a couple of times. I'm someone I really respect a lot, and there are more as well. And then I also know more people that I won't name because while they're very devout and serious about their sadhana, they don't talk about it publicly.
They're not in
Right?
the public space, right?
Yeah, not in the public space. And I don't know, some cases that might be for career considerations, but in many cases it might just be they feeling, well, this is my private thing and I don't want to talk about it. And you have to respect that too. Yeah. And then I also know people who are maybe don't define themselves as Hindu or connect with a particular sampradaya or particular tradition, but they're just very, sympathetic, right? They got into this field because they love the material. And so what I find is the people who tend to write things that are a little more controversial, I find that's not really not the majority of people in the field. People are really just trying to do good scholarly work, and their paradigms and their theories may not be what a practitioner would necessarily agree with or appreciate, but they're not
out to harm.
They're not out to harm, right? They're not out to harm or to provoke. And I think now there is a, like you said, in America, the sort of culture of irreverence. There are people who write to provoke, and I think that's a style, right? That's there. It's not one I particularly share because that's not my relationship with the community or the material. Not to get too personal, but I'm going to go ahead and get too personal. I was in such a state of mourning after the death of my father that, for me, like reading the Gita for the first time, for example, I would say it saved my life. I mean, it would have been very easy for me to spiral into a very depressed state after I didn't tell the whole story. A lot of really terrible things happened with my father that resulted in his death.
You could use this time to tell us a little bit about the journey.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit. The people find the story upsetting. I mean, just the extent of his physical injuries were so great that it was really he for almost 2 years he lived in a state of just absolute misery. And it was hard. It was hard to watch someone you love go through that. Someone who'd always been very strong, and the father is always like the pillar of the family, and so on. So it was devastating. So I credit Vedanta and Hinduism, and then the broader things I've learned from the Jain tradition, the Buddhist tradition, with whatever mental health I have today. Of course, people are quite happy to question that if they want to, but. I feel I'm very grateful for the life I have. I met someone who's also who's from the tradition.
Yes.
My wife, her father was very much into Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and so on. It's a Bengali family, and so I mean I've met such wonderful people, and I've found the community so warm and welcoming that I this is not a group of people I want to provoke, right? These are people I want to thank, actually. So but not everyone's the same, and I respect the right of scholars to write whatever they think is appropriate. But part of what we do in the academy too is you have to be prepared for critique. You have to be prepared for people to reply to you and say, well, I don't agree with what you said. You need to defend what you said.
Right.
That's the way I was taught in the academy. You have to be prepared to defend everything you say and to cite sources and so on. So I'm all for a good, scholarly back and forth.
Absolutely.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.